into this, shall we? Elon Musk. AI robots. We've got a whole stack of stuff here. He gave us interviews, talks, you name it. And Musk, well, he certainly doesn't hold back on his opinions about the future of technology.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to write the roadmap himself, but some of the turns he's proposing are, well, pretty wild. Like we're stepping into a sci-fi movie sometimes.
Exactly. So what are we doing here today? We're going to try to make sense of it all. What does Musk really believe when it comes to AI and robots? Is this just hype to boost his companies? Or is there something real to be worried about? And how will this all impact the way we work and live in the years ahead?
We'll break it all down, separate the hype from the facts, dig into the potential benefits and risks. Who knows, maybe we'll even answer a few of your own questions along the way.
Sounds like a plan. Let's jump in. One thing that really struck me going through all of this was this analogy Musk uses, comparing AI to a genie in a bottle.
That's a powerful image, right? Genies grant wishes, but there's always that risk of things going sideways, unintended consequences. He even has a quote in one of these articles, "Be careful what you wish for, including wishes."
Makes you think twice about what you'd actually ask for, huh? And that leads right into another big idea. Musk keeps hammering on what a robot actually is. His definition is way broader than how most people think about robots.
Oh, he's not talking about just those humanoid figures we see in movies. For Musk, anything that's controlled by a computer is essentially a robot. Your Tesla, your smartphone, that smart fridge that orders groceries when you're running low, all robots in his book.
So we're already kind of surrounded by them, even if they don't look like C-3PO, right?
Right. But it's those humanoid robots, like the ones Tesla's working on, that really seem to get Musk's attention and maybe even spark a bit of fear in him.
Yeah, you're talking about the Tesla bot, or Optimus as Musk calls it. He's pretty vocal about the potential dangers of these robots, especially if they can, get around freely in the world, even chase us down.
He actually talks about a scenario straight out of a James Cameron movie. Robots chasing humans through buildings, upstairs, the whole 9 yards. A bit unsettling, to say the least.
Not the kind of robot you want to bump into on a dark night, that's for sure. And that's why Musk really pushes for those hardwired safety features in these robots, like an off switch that can't be overridden by software, a fail-safe in case things go haywire.
It makes you wonder, though, who actually controls that off switch? In a world with all these autonomous robots running around, is it the owner?
Yeah.
The manufacturer, some kind of robot police force we haven't invented yet? These are the kinds of questions we'll need to figure out as this technology keeps advancing.
Absolutely. But beyond those safety concerns, Musk sees AI as this massive disruptor, even bigger than the internet or the Industrial Revolution. He's saying AI will eventually automate most jobs, making human labor basically obsolete.
It's a pretty bold statement, and it's got people talking, that's for sure. Some folks like the idea of a world without work, free to do whatever you want. Others, they're worried about what happens when people don't have jobs, what it means for society and the economy.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but Musk seems to have given this a lot of thought. He brings up this idea of a universal high income. Everyone gets paid a basic income, whether they have a job or not.
Basically, he's saying AI will generate so much wealth that we can afford to support everyone, even if they're not working in the traditional sense. It's like a safety net for the age of AI.
So think about it, a world where you don't have to work to survive. What would you do with all that time? What would give your life meaning and purpose? It's a really interesting thought experiment, and Musk thinks we need to start taking it seriously.
For sure. But let's switch gears for a minute and talk about Optimus, that humanoid robot everyone's buzzing about. Musk doesn't just see these things working in factories, but also fitting right into our homes and everyday lives.
He's talking about Optimus cooking dinner, folding laundry, helping with the kids. It's like having a live-in robot butler.
And Musk is super excited about how Optimus could solve labor shortages in all sorts of industries, from manufacturing to healthcare. He thinks it could revolutionize how we think about productivity and efficiency.
He's even made some bold predictions about how much Optimus will cost and how available it'll be, saying it could end up being cheaper than a car and as common as smartphones, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It's a bold claim, especially when you look at where humanoid robot tech is right now. But Musk is confident Tesla can make this happen.
And why does he think that? What makes Tesla so special?
He points to the data Tesla has. Think about it. Every Tesla out there is gathering information about how humans navigate the world. That data can then be used to train Optimus, make it super adaptable to all kinds of environments.
So it's not just about the robot's hardware, but the software and data that powers it. Makes sense. But if Optimus does become a reality, what happens to the job market? Will robots really be taking over all our jobs?
That's the big question everyone's asking. And Musk's answer is, well, kind of. He thinks AI and automation will inevitably replace a lot of jobs, but he also sees it as a chance to create new and better jobs.
So it's not necessarily all doom and gloom, but a major period of transition.
Exactly. And Musk believes we need to start preparing for that transition, NOW, both individually and as a society. Investing in education, retraining, rethinking how we provide for people who are out of work, even exploring radical ideas like that universal basic income we talked about.
It's clear that Musk sees AI and robots as more than just cool gadgets. He sees them as forces that are going to completely reshape our world in the years to come.
And he's not afraid to challenge how we think about the future of work, what intelligence really is, even what it means to be human.
Okay, I think that's a good place to pause for a second. We've covered a ton of ground already, and I think it's time to take a breath and process everything we've learned so far.
Let's really consider what Musk's vision means. What does all of this mean for you, for me, for humanity as a whole? Welcome back. So I bet some of you are thinking, okay, this is all very interesting, but what does a future full of AI and robots actually mean for me, like in my daily life?
Right, it's one thing to talk about these big ideas, but it's a whole other thing to actually imagine how they might affect us personally.
Exactly. So let's get practical for a minute. One of the biggest things Musk talks about is how work is going to change. He's pretty adamant that AI will eventually be able to do most jobs, making human labor kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, he doesn't really sugarcoat it. In one of these interviews, he just comes right out and says that AI will be able to do pretty much every job better than humans. Kind of scary when you think about it.
It is. But here's where things get interesting. Musk doesn't see this as a bad thing. He thinks this shift away from traditional work could be really liberating. Imagine being free to do whatever you're passionate about, learn new stuff, spend more time with family and friends, all without having to worry about earning a living.
Sounds pretty utopian, but let's be real. For a lot of people, work is more than just a paycheck. It gives you structure, purpose, even a sense of identity. So how do you find those things in a world where work is optional?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's something Musk acknowledges too. He says this transition to a world without work is going to be tough, even disruptive. But he also thinks it could unlock all sorts of new creative possibilities for humanity.
So maybe instead of being afraid of this future, we should focus on how to get ready for it, both as individuals and as a society. What skills will be important when robots can do all the routine stuff? How do we make sure everyone benefits from AI, not just a small group of people?
Those are the discussions we need to be having right now. And speaking of robots, let's circle back to Optimus for a minute. Musk doesn't just see these robots as factory workers or housekeepers. He has way bigger plans for them.
He's talking about Optimus becoming like a companion, almost part of the family. He even jokes about Optimus making you a cocktail after a long day.
Right. He paints this picture of Optimus fitting seamlessly into our lives, helping us with everything from taking care of the kids to taking care of our aging parents to even being a friend for people who live alone.
But let's be realistic for a second. Building a robot that can actually understand and respond to all the nuances of human emotions and relationships, that's a huge challenge. Even the most advanced AI we have today struggles with that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. There are massive technical hurdles to overcome, not to mention all the ethical questions that come with having robots so intertwined with our personal lives.
Like, what about privacy? If you've got robots constantly watching and interacting with you in your home, who gets access to that data? And how do we protect ourselves from hacking or misuse?
All valid concerns and things we need to address head-on as this tech keeps developing. Musk himself admits that AI could go wrong, but he seems to believe that the potential benefits outweigh the risks.
And I think part of dealing with those risks involves being a little skeptical of Musk's claims, even when they sound out there. He's a brilliant engineer and businessman, but he's also a master at getting attention. He knows how to make headlines and get people excited.
True, he does have a flair for the dramatic, but even if we take some of his predictions with a grain of salt, there's no denying that AI is moving forward at an incredible speed, and Musk is betting big on that trend continuing.
He actually says AI is getting 10 times better every year. If that's even remotely true, we're talking about an explosion of AI capabilities in the very near future.
Exactly. Think about it like this. When a kid's learning to walk, it takes months for those first few wobbly steps. But once they figure it out, they start running, jumping, dancing all in no time at all. Musk thinks AI is developing in a similar way.
So what happens when AI is smarter than us in every way? How do we ensure that it stays aligned with human values and goals? These are questions that used to be pure science fiction, but they're starting to feel very real.
right? And it's not just about robots taking over the world. It's about all the subtle ways AI might change our lives, our relationships, how we see ourselves as humans. Are we prepared for that?
These are huge questions, and there are no simple answers. But I think the first step is just to be aware of these issues, to have these conversations, to really think critically about the kind of future we want.
I couldn't agree more. And it's important to remember that AI has the potential to do a lot of good in the world. Musk talks about AI helping us solve some of our biggest problems, climate change, disease, poverty. He's not just all doom and gloom.
He talks about AI systems analyzing tons of climate data to figure out how to fight global warming, or AI-powered robots that can clean up pollution and fix damaged ecosystems. It's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
Absolutely.
Huh.
But like with any powerful technology, there's always the risk of it being used for bad things. What if these AI systems get into the wrong hands or are used for harmful purposes? We need to be thinking about those dangers too.
It all comes down to responsibility, doesn't it? As AI gets more powerful, we all have a role to play in making sure it's used for good. We need to push for ethical development, smart regulations, and a future where AI benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Exactly. And let's not forget, the future isn't set in stone. It's shaped by the choices we make today. So what kind of future do you want to create? What role do you want to play in shaping the age of AI?
That's a powerful question, and one I think we all need to think about carefully. But for now, let's take another short break. When we come back, we'll explore some concrete things you can do to get ready for this AI-powered future.
Okay, welcome back to our final segment on Elon Musk, AI, and the future. We've talked a lot about big ideas, but now I think it's time to get practical. What can you actually do to prepare for this future we've been discussing?
Yeah, it's probably what everyone's thinking right now, right? Genies and robots are cool and all. But how do I actually get ready for this AI world Musk keeps talking about? Well, from what we've seen in these sources, the first thing to really understand is adaptability. This isn't just a one-time shift. AI is going to keep changing things constantly. Industries, jobs, even how we think.
Couldn't agree more. People who are stuck in their ways, clinging to the old ways of doing things, they're going to have a hard time. Musk talks about this a lot, the importance of always being willing to learn. The skills you have now, they might not be useful 5 or 10 years down the road.
So what does that actually look like, being adaptable?
It's about being open to new possibilities, Always trying to learn new things. Think about it this way. If your job is something a robot could easily do, what makes you special? What makes you valuable? Musk hints at this a lot. Focus on the stuff AI can't do.
Things like creativity, solving complex problems, stuff that requires human intuition and understanding of the world.
Exactly. And don't underestimate human connection. Jobs where you need empathy, where you're building relationships, those are going to be more important than ever as AI takes over the routine tasks.
So upskilling, retraining, those are going to be key for anyone who wants to succeed in this future. But Musk also talks about something else I found really interesting, the financial side of things.
He talks about AI creating all this wealth and abundance, but he doesn't say it'll just magically appear in everyone's bank account. This is where personal responsibility comes in.
So even if we do have a universal basic income someday, we shouldn't just sit back and relax.
Exactly. Understanding how AI is changing different industries, being smart with your investments, maybe even learning how to use AI to create your own OBON opportunities, that's going to be crucial for building a secure future.
It's like that old saying, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. But in this case, we might need to learn how to build AI-powered fishing boats, right?
I like that. But let's not forget about the ethical side of all this. Musk might be all about pushing tech to its limits, but he also brings up the need to really think about AI's impact. It's not just about building it and letting it loose.
Yeah, he's warning us that we need to be having those difficult conversations about bias in algorithms, about data privacy, about the potential for someone using AI for bad stuff.
And those aren't just conversations for politicians and tech people. We all have a responsibility to be informed, to join those conversations, to fight for AI being developed in a way that benefits everyone, not just a few.
And now we get to one of the craziest ideas Musk talks about, the possibility of humans actually merging with AI.
He's not shying away from it at all. He talks about a future where we could use AI to make ourselves smarter, stronger, maybe even live longer.
It sounds like something straight out of a movie, but it brings up some really deep questions. If we can basically upgrade ourselves with AI, what does that even mean for being human? Where do we draw the line?
It's a philosophical rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. These questions might not be as far-fetched as they seem. Technology is moving so fast, what was impossible 10 years ago is totally normal now.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the big takeaway is the future isn't set in stone. It's being created right now by the choices we make, the conversations we have, the actions we take.
And Musk, whether you agree with him or not, he's definitely shaking things up and making us think about these big questions. He's pushing for change, and that's something we can all learn from.
Absolutely. So going forward, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep pushing the limits of what's possible. The age of AI is here, and it's our job to make sure it's a positive force in the world.
Thanks for joining us on this wild ride. Until next time, keep exploring, keep those brains working, and never stop asking, what if?